Already seriously damaged by fire earlier this week. Now, this is video from when the garage first started on fire this past Tuesday. Fire officials tell us around 10 o'clock last night, they went back to that home along 22nd Avenue because the homeowner noticed a new smoky smell. Fire crews found some beams in the attic were still smoldering. Firefighters went to extinguish them quickly. A damage estimate for that entire fire is still not available. Also breaking this morning, British police say they have arrested 2 people in connection with a hostage-taking situation at a Texas synagogue. One man was arrested in the British city of Birmingham, the other in the city of Manchester. They were being held for questioning and have not yet been charged. Malik Faisal Akram, a 44-year-old British citizen, took 4 people hostage at that Texas synagogue in a 10-hour standoff that ended in his death. Happening this morning, the Richland County law enforcement officials in Montana are conducting a community search for Caitlin Berry, a woman with ties to Grand Forks. Officials say anyone interested in volunteering will need to report to the county fire station at 8 Mountain Time this morning. They add that the search could take up to 8 hours, and they ask anyone interested to wear proper clothing and equipment to stay warm. And you'll need to make sure you have the proper clothing and equipment in the Red River Valley to stay warm. It's a first alert weather day, Lisa.
It is, and that is because of that intense cold we have back in the valley, that Arctic air. We're right in the middle of that air mass right now, and it's here for the day at least, as we are dealing with some tough conditions. So if you're heading out for that morning drive, make sure you're ready again for the cold. You might want to get that car started a little sooner rather than later with our frigid temperatures. Here's a look at travel today. I've got yellow lights all day long, and that's because of the cold. If you run into some issues with your vehicle, maybe you get locked out of your house, you're going to run into some trouble. So make sure anytime you're stepping out the door, you're bundled up here for today. The other thing I want to mention is this goes through the 5 o'clock hour for drive time in the evening, but later tonight we've got some strong winds coming our way with the next system approaching, and the issue with that, of course, is the potential for blowing snow. So be aware of that. We're going to show you our potential wind gusts coming up in just a moment. Our temperatures right now, it's tough. We're in the 20s and teens, below 0, of course. Fargo's at 19 below, 24 below in Grand Forks. Jamestown at 17 below, one of the milder spots, relatively speaking. It's 23 below in Bemidji. Fergus Falls checking in at 22 below 0, and Devil's Lake 20 below. Clear skies. We're going to have a good amount of sun, but it's going to be frigid to be out taking that in. Here's a look at our latest wind chills. We're now down to 42 below for your wind chill in Langdon, and Gwinner 40 below your current wind chills. So again, dangerous numbers here where we're talking 10 minutes or less for frostbite if you're not dressed and covered up properly. Fargo 34 below your wind chill and 38 below in Grand Forks. It's not as intense in the east. Those are our air temperatures pretty much for a lot of those locations because the wind is just not that strong in our eastern counties right now. It's quiet. We've got clear skies and, of course, dry conditions. That means for us right now on our radar and satellite map. And taking a peek at our planner for today. Temperatures in blue, wind chills in purple. We'll see those numbers climb, but it's going to stay below 0 as we go through the day. By this afternoon, we're looking at about 7 below for your high, your daytime high, at least in Fargo. And your wind chills, well, they stay in the 30s below through the morning, eventually getting a little better, but still into the 20s below heading home from work and school. So it's still going to be frigid and tough as we move into the afternoon today. Now, we do have a wind kicking in for tonight. Unfortunately, it's going to be a strong wind. We're looking at one that's going to be gusting into the 30s and 40s. And so I'm starting our wind gust planner here at 5 a.m. Friday as we've got a cold front that's going to be approaching. You can see those gusts that are going to be on the strong side. It'll warm us up, but we'll have to deal with some blowing snow. And where we see some falling snow, your visibility is really going to start to drop. So by 9 a.m., again, we're seeing some of those stronger gusts moving into Minnesota. And then the wind turns westerly or northwesterly as the cold front moves through. So this is going to be an issue we're dealing with all day tomorrow. Something to think ahead to as you're making your plans here in your forecast, or in your plans through your forecast here for your Friday. So here's your 7-day planner. Today, first alert weather day, 7 below your high, and then that south wind kicks in. It warms us up, so we'll start off your Friday morning around 0, and we'll keep that climb going until the front passes, but we have to put up with that wind and blowing snow and falling snow too. If you were watching just a few minutes ago, we're looking at about 1 inch to 3 inches of snow with this one, so not heavy, but enough that it's going to further reduce our visibility with that wind. And then that clears, that cold front clears. This weekend we cool back down. We're back into into the single digits above on Saturday, and just a bit unsettled, a chance for light snow both days. And another first alert weather day coming up for Tuesday. We're looking at the potential for some Arctic air, dangerous cold yet again, making its way into the valley. Another surge of it coming up for Tuesday and perhaps lingering into Wednesday morning. So big swings here in the forecast. And yet again tomorrow, we need to watch out for that wind and some snow coming our way for Friday.
Yeah, definitely bundle up when you head out there. It's cold. Lisa, thank you. It's now 6:53. There is a brand new destination for families open in the metro. It has it all, and with the cold temperatures, you're going to want to have some fun indoors these next few days. The Valley Today's JC Dodd takes us live to show us an inside look at the highly anticipated new Kingpins. Good morning, JC.
Good morning, Jordan. So far this morning, I've shown you an arcade, hyper bowling, escape rooms, and there's more. There's laser tag, there's restaurants, but now I'm in the Elite Suites. This is a 100 occupant VIP room, perfect for private parties, corporate events, and guess what? You get your own private hyper bowling, 6 lanes right here. Tim Carey's gonna go. Let's see what he does. Remember, the goal is you want to aim for the nice. You want to aim for the bumpers, and they're not bumpers, they're targets, right?
Color targets, that's
Color
correct.
targets, that's correct. So here we are, the VIP Elite Suites. Tell me, they have their own catering room, everything?
Yep, it's got a dedicated catering menu, very elaborate. Seats about 100 people. Comes with the 6 lanes of private hyper bowling, as well as a private bar, boardroom accessories for presentations, videos, whatever it might be. So really good for not only corporate events, for large birthday parties, teams, large groom's dinners, whatever it might be. Christmas parties, great room for that.
Awesome. Well, thank you for letting us join you this morning for an inside look at the Kingpin here in South Fargo. Jordan?
Thank you.
Yeah, and earlier we saw the arcade that they had. We saw other bowling that they have, and also laser tag there, 50,000 square feet, a lot to go over. JC Dodd reporting live this morning. Thank you very much, and that's located off of I-29 and 52nd Avenue South. In our consumer alert, cyber criminals have another way to try and get into your wallet. The FBI is issuing a warning about those QR codes. Those are the barcodes that people scan on their phones to open up a website. They've been used more frequently during the pandemic. However, feds say that hackers are using fake QR codes to send people to malicious sites that will then hijack their payments and steal personal data. The feds say fraudulent QR codes are related or relatively easy for the scammers to make, and they advise people to use the App Store directly to download something instead of first using that QR code. Schools in Bemidji will be closed for the rest of the week, and they're considering a move to distance learning. District officials say they're struggling to stay open because of the high number of COVID, flu, and other illnesses. In the district, they say they'll determine whether or not to move to long-term distance learning by tomorrow, with a priority of keeping elementary school classes open in person. A paraeducator from Kennedy Elementary School in Fargo was hit by a car while helping students cross the street after school. Fargo PD says the para told officers that she noticed a driver on her phone and told them to put it away while driving. The driver then not only made contact with her, but also nudged their car forward multiple times. That's according to the school district. The victim's husband tells us his wife is in pain and says the knee that was hit yesterday by the vehicle was just surgically replaced a few years ago. The driver was cited with distracted driving, and a report was filed for simple assault. Now to an update on a car crash out of Grand Forks County. A rugby man who was seriously injured in that crash last week has now died. Highway Patrol says John Gustafson was driving on an icy patch of Highway 2 near Niagara when his car slid off the road and into a ditch and rolled. He was 74 years old. A West Fargo man is behind bars after a young boy came forward saying that he was sexually assaulted almost nightly for years. 32-year-old Kyle Sanchez is charged with felony count of continuous sexual abuse of a child. Details on this story are available on the VNL News app. If convicted, Sanchez faces up to life in prison without the possibility of parole. Just over a year after the murder of a man in Maddock, North Dakota, and one woman has now been sentenced for it. Kayla Thumb was convicted of murder of Monte Herman Jr., which happened on December 21st of 2020. Thumb had been found at the scene after authorities responded to a report of a stabbing at an apartment. A knife believed to be the murder weapon was found in the sink. Thumb will serve 20 years in prison. She will be eligible for release after 10 years and serve 5 years of supervised probation. The state of Minnesota is suing 2 COVID-19 test providers based out of Illinois for either failing to deliver test results or getting the results wrong. Attorney General Keith Ellison says his office started getting complaints 2 weeks ago saying that people were promised results in minutes and many had to wait weeks.
Some Minnesotans also reported receiving test results from companies despite having never submitted a sample for testing. Still, others reported receiving test results with inaccurate information about their test.
Ellison says there are a lot of legitimate and trustworthy tests out there, and the provider that he is suing is the exception. Now, to spot false ones, the BBB recommends you should do 3 things. Number 1, do your research, meaning check your state and local health department website. Number 2, read the fine print on those tests. And 3, watch out for any lookalike websites. After more than 11,000 submissions, 50 finalists have now been named for the Minnesota Department of Transportation's 2nd annual Name a Snowplow contest. Some of the options include Lord Coldemort, Betty Whiteout, and Edward Blizzard Hands, along with Scoop Dog and more. You can choose up to 8 of your favorites between now and next Wednesday. We have posted a link to do that voting on our VNL News app. Just click on the story. The DOT plans to announce the winners and their future homes sometime early next month. The Today Show and CBS This Morning are just about to start, but the Valley Today rolls on. We'll have more live up-to-the-minute news and weather coming up for you on the Fargo CW. There, Lisa Green will explain more of the cold temperatures everyone's facing out here as they hit the roads. Otherwise, have a happy and safe Thursday.